Hello, my name is Richard, and my advocate's topic was low-density living, and she claimed that low-density housing has significant disadvantages. Starting off with her first one, which was it leads to environmental damage, and one thing that she gave was it leads to air pollution, and what she failed to mention was that even in rural areas that it has there are pollutions, because in her evidence she talked about the cars and how it gives like CO2 emissions due to the cars that commute to bigger cities. But according to Kirk Smith of UC Berkeley, in an argument that he wrote called Rural Air Pollution Often Overlooked, he said that emission inventories done as part of climate and acid precipitation programs show clearly that rural areas can contribute substantially to total emissions. In some areas, such as China, total human exposure to outdoor air pollutants in rural areas may be twice that exposed in residential areas. So pretty much what that's saying is that even in rural areas, it might not be car like smog or anything. It could be pesticides or any other type of air pollution that's just as harmful as the others. And then again, another claim that she had made was that for one of her claims, she said that it leads to social economic friction between different social classes. And she gave an example of the to lawns and how people try to show off a better lawn, and it's like an example, or like it shows your how much you make and stuff. But and how you try to keep up with the Jones type of ordeal. And I'm here to say that even if it was a lawn or a car, like no matter where it is, there's always going to be competitions with your neighbors. Even in rural areas, it could be a tractor or how big your farm is. There's always going to be a competition trying to keep up with one another. And another one of her claims that she had made, she said that it's suburban lifestyle leads to health discrepancies. She one health issue that she had brought up was that it leads to mental health issues, such as depression and emotional problems. Well, to give you a statistic starting off, 80.7 people in the United States, due to from the 2010 census of the U.S., said 80.7% of people, the population, live in urban areas, and 19.3% of the population lives in rural areas, and that nearly 60 million people in rural areas of America experience rates of mental illness, substantial abuse, and emotional disturbance, and disabilities equal or greater than those to people in urban areas. And that was from Adina Smith, from the article of Rural Mental Health Counseling. So statistically and the ratio speaking, they are pretty much the same. They're the same, yes, but racially there's more problems for in the urban areas, rural areas, than there is to the urban areas. Another risk of health that's not beneficial would be people according to a National Center for Biotechnology Information, a study made in 2009 found that birth rate defects in rural areas are the highest in the spring and summer, when pesticide levels spike in surface water. So what that's saying is there's a lot more health problems that happen in rural areas that you could get from some chemicals or the pesticides that are greater than those that in urban areas, and this is not making rural areas are not healthier, and it does not make them any better for mental health or any other reason. It's pretty much the same, and that's my. That's
All right, Richard, I see a general problem here because it really sounds like you've equivocated rural areas with the high density areas, and I think you've misunderstood the advocate's argument. I think their argument was that having people in low density areas is problematic, and it's not the high density areas. They say low density housing has significant disadvantages, and then you start telling us about all the rural areas. Wouldn't rural areas be low density housing? I think I think you've kind of gone the wrong direction on this and reached the wrong conclusion, because I think their argument ultimately is that we need high density living to reduce traffic problems, to reduce the amount of stress that people have from commuting, and to cut down on pollution and all those sorts of things. I think you needed to go the opposite direction and tell us why high density urban living is more problematic than the suburban living. So I kind of think that you ended up on the wrong side of the proposition here. I did think, though, that you found good evidence on the points that you had. The problem is that I think they could be used by the advocate to support their position in a couple of spots. You do need to structure it a little bit more clearly, but I did think that you did a good job citing the information. I was a little lost at one point when you were talking about the different population areas, but then you did state that it was a percentage of the population, so it got a little confusing, but you cleared that up. Like I said, I think the biggest issue here is I think you've misanalyzed what the inference is that the advocate is making. All right, thank you.